this is 7.7 example 3, and it's asking us, how can we factor the difference of squares using a pattern? Well, remember when we were multiplying, what would happen when we had these terms matching except one was negative and one was positive? If you remember what happened when we multiplied those out, if you need to draw yourself the box, you can. When we had the a minus b and the a plus b, we got a squared, and we got minus ab, and we got plus ab, and then we had minus b squared. So when we were done here, this middle part right here canceled each other out because the negative AB and a positive AB became 0. And so our final answer was just a squared minus b squared. And we called that a difference of squares. My handwriting is so bad in these videos. Okay, so in going in reverse, if we see that perfect square, difference of squares, then we know that we can use the shortcut again. So let's go back and make ourselves some steps. So for step number 1, is it a binomial? So a binomial has 2 terms, right? Okay, and so is it a binomial is our first question. Question 2, is it subtraction? So remember, the word difference means subtraction. So we need to know, is it subtraction? So, and then the third part of that question, are both terms perfect squares? Are both terms perfect squares? So we've got those questions here. Is it a binomial? So does it have 2 terms? Is it subtraction? And are both terms perfect squares? So let's look at the x squared minus 9. When we look at that, we determine, yes, the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9 is 3, and it's 2 terms, and it's subtraction. So that means our shortcut allows us to jump right over here to step 4, which means we can write the factored form. And so that means we're going to go ahead and write this, and we're going to put the first one, the square root of the first term, the square root of the second term, and then what makes this a difference of squares is that one is positive and one is negative. So our shortcut for difference of squares is to just use this pattern and move forward. Okay, so this is one where with the perfect square trinomials, if you want to fall back to the multiplying and using the box and factoring things out, you can do that. But with difference of squares, this is really one you need to just be able to identify and factor. Let's look at part B. Is it a binomial? Yes, we have 4x squared and we have negative 81. Those are our terms. So it's a binomial, and it is subtraction. That's question 2, is it subtraction? And question 3 is, are both perfect squares? Well, the square root of 4x squared is 2x, and the square root of 81 is 9. So because we've determined that this is a difference of squares, I'm just going to write the 2x and the 2x and the 9 and the 9, and then one of them's positive and one of them's negative. So this difference of squares should be pretty quick for you. You just have to be able to identify that that's what you're looking at. go ahead and pause the video and then do the try it. And when you're done, come back and check them. Okay, is this a difference of squares? They're both perfect squares. It is subtraction. It's binomial. So this should very quickly factor into x and 8 and 8. And one is positive and one is negative. And again, on part B, it's subtraction. It's a binomial. They're both perfect squares. So the square root of the first term is 3x. The square root of 100 is 10. And then one is positive and one is negative.